Virginia here with Jenny Lee Gems. We are back to couching a cabochon. So this is the one that we were working on, and I wanted to show you, before I show you how to do that, this little practice one. So someone gave me this as a gift, and so I kind of practiced on it a little bit just to see how the needles worked with the backing and things like that. So on this side, I didn't punch holes. So I do have this trusty little hole puncher that you use with leather, suede, or whatever. But I didn't punch holes on this side just to see how it would work. Let me get the right needle here. So I used the gray and I used some yellow dyed needles, which bend nicely around the cabochon. So this is glued on just like we did our other one. This is thinner here and it doesn't have the backing yet. So you can wait and add your backing later, whatever you want to do. But I wanted to show you the difference. So one side I sewed and then I used the hole punch and created some holes to use. They both look okay. But if you look here where I came in really close to the stone, came right next to the stone, up and over, and attached the pine needles, this is what true couching looks like. So couching in embroidery is they put either a cord or a piece of material or something and they couch it down. We created the bead couching on this one, which is what more people use for pine needle baskets. But you can do it this way. Just start with the pine needles and go right up next to it. And that gives it a really nice effect. And you can choose whether to just sew it directly on there. Now in this instance, I'm going to show you, but of course you would go back and snip this tail off before. Well, you don't have to, but I do. I go in and snip the tail off like this. And get that so it'll lay a little closer. So go in as close as you can get to that cabochon. Come through the back. Up and over. Hold your pine needles where you want them. Force them to go in there. And then just gauge. I don't measure anything. I just kind of, I know what 1/4 of an inch is, so I just kind of stick with that plan. And then pull your needle and thread back down through. So that gets you up really close, just as close as you can get the needle. And I think it looks really clean on this side. Now with the holes, I could see the holes through there, but I'm looking for them. Most people wouldn't if you're not looking for them. But you see the difference? That's close enough for just a bird's eye view. But if you want it couched right up next to it, I would use hand stitching. So that's just a different idea of how that works. Now in this one too, it's easy to get through with the needle, but it's a little floppier because it's only one ply. So, you know, pay attention to what you're using for your backing. So it works, but it's just a matter of what you prefer. So let's get back to the beads. So I'm using about 4 or 5 needles to start with. And I was going to mention you could go ahead and just use, when you start out, you could use a set of pine needles that still have the back on them. And leave it there and then trim this off afterwards and they wouldn't come apart. I'm accustomed to doing it this way. I'm using a little piece of suede that my shamanic teacher left here for the backing. It's just kind of cool to use that. So I pulled through. I didn't tie a knot yet, as you can see, because after I pull through here and I go back down as close as I want to be, I am going to tie the back. So I'm using this bright blue. Let me push that up a little. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but just to make sure, go back and just put a little knot so that you don't lose your thread coming through the back. Now, normally I tape this down, I'm going to go ahead and do that so it stays out of our way and it doesn't end up in the middle of anything that we're working on. So tape that down. And then we are going to repeat the same pattern. These beads are about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to kind of use that as a gauge where to come up. And again, I want to come up as close to the beads as I can get because I want to hide all that purple backing that I used. I don't want to go through the needles, but so in this case, I'm just going to push it through because it's easier on my hands. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little needle, pine needle, because I want to start getting my coil. If I can get it in there, I hope I can get it in. Yep, there it goes. So I want to start getting my coil the size that I want it pretty quickly. I want to make 2 rounds. So I'm going to try to do about 1/4 of an inch coil and make 2 rounds to really solidify this bottom before I start going out on my own and coiling. I just want everything to stay together. Now I'm going to use my little nippers to pull through because my hands are a little sore. We made drums this weekend and mine came out beautiful. I'm so excited. So we're letting them dry. We had soaked the horse. I had a horse hide. So it is drying now and getting ready to be consecrated. So I have this leather on the table and it helps me push this through, up and over. And now we are, there's a hole there, but now we are couching the needles on there. And that is true couching as it's referred to in the references to embroidery. Paying attention, I need to get closer and I can't see very well. There, I'm very close there. So I was thinking of using my blue-black thread, but for purposes, I can't talk, purposes of this video, I think you could see the blue a lot better. So I am just going straight across because that's what couching usually looks like. But you can choose to go diagonal or you can make a crisscross, hopscotch, whatever you want to do. You can use whatever type of stitch you want to do. Your main objective is getting those needles pinned down there and getting your base, your solid base. So these, I think I'll go ahead and add one more. And sometimes, you know, I try to get it, of course, shiny side up. Shiny side up and, you know, thicker end going in first. But I've seen lately some people are using the pointy end. And if that makes it easier for you, go for it. It's your basket. Do what you want to do. So these needles, again, are dyed and glycerin. So they're very pliable. They're going, I picked them because they will be able to go around this basket very easily. So from the back, and I'm choosing to go from the inside to the out. Normally I would do otherwise, but I think that's getting my little coil closer to the center, which is my objective. Now, so if you've already put your back on, if you've already put the back on your little beaded cabochon, you are going to have this pattern back here. And to me, that's okay. I'm okay with that. That's going to look fine. I just didn't want all that random stitching with the beads in there. If you don't want that, wait and glue your back on after. It's as simple as that. So let's do one more so you could see what I'm doing, and then I will let you go. And again, I am using these beads kind of as my measurement, my 1/4 inch measurement. I am going to hold those down with my little hand. Push them in because I want to leave enough there for another row. I want to make another row of couching before I start whatever pattern I'm going to do, which I don't know what that is yet. We'll see what my basket says it wants. So there you go. That's what it's starting to look like. I will go all the way around with the same pattern so that you can see it, the blue thread. And then I'll trim these and I'll show you. We'll go over the top just like we do in a normal basket, but in case you don't know, I will show you what that looks like. Now, so this blue I picked because it does pick up some of that flashing here in this stone. So I like it. I don't know. The purple is confusing me in the background, but that's all I had of the Lacey stiff stuff. I'll have to try to maybe get some more and do some more beading. But that's what it looks like. I will check back in with you after I get around to this point. Thanks for watching.